Welcome to episode 84 Boomer Guitar Sessions. This is Rod. Today, what we're going to look at is mastering the power chord. When I say mastering the power chord, we talked about power chords before, but what I'm encountering with lots of my students is the movement between power chords and getting your hands moving from one chord to the next and the micromanaging of power chords. Before we get started, let's define what is a power chord. When I say a power chord, what we're talking about, these are the shortened versions of larger chords. So if I have a bar chord, okay, the power chord version of that is just the root and what is called the fifth. Now, these are the chords that are rock and roll. These are the chords that if you learn these, you can start forming your rock bands, your punk bands, your garage bands, your lots of, it is fun. It's rock and roll, it's punk rock, it's heavy metal, it's even pop music. So with that said, that's what a movable power chord looks like if you're looking at it. Now, getting started with this, what you want to make sure you do is you make sure that you tune your guitar, and tuning's always an issue with guitar, but it's especially important with power chords because there are only two notes that we're dealing with, and if it's out of tune, you really hear it. So with that said, the different kinds of movements within power chords. So the goal is, let's make power chording easy for us. That's our goal. So the first step, as I can see it, first off, we have form 1, we have form 2, and we have form 3. So I can move up the neck with each of those forms, which we'll talk about, things that I'm working on in this lesson. Maybe all low E stuff, but you can move it around at your E string, A string, and D string. All right. So with that said, first step, the first thing we can do is what is called chromatic movement. Now, when I start with this with my students, I tell them about the Rocket Ride riff. When I was a kid, one of the most important early albums that I owned was Kiss Alive 2. The Ace Frehley song on side 4 was called Rocket Ride. It was like... When we say chromatic means half step. So all we're doing is we're moving that half step movement. Notice when I play a power chord, I'm not playing with fingers 1 and 3 too. Okay? When 1 and 3 makes sense is when you're doing that taking care of business kind of thing. Now the deal is, I don't do that a lot. I don't do it all the time. Whenever I do it, I use that fingering. But mostly I don't use that fingering. Mostly I don't make those sounds. All right, so what I'm going to be using is fingers 1 and 4. This is more heavy metal, punk rock, because we can... That's a little movement that you use a lot, and also in heavy metal you got it. And it's easier on your wrist. So when I finger the 2-finger power chord, it's almost, we'll say 90% of the time, it's going to be my first and my 4th finger. And all method number 1 is just playing from one power chord to the next fret, to the next fret, to the next fret. This is also this is songs like Master Puppets. All right. This is For Whom the Bell Tolls. This is AC/DC, I think TNT, they go. Chromatic movement, half-step movement, that is method number 1. And practice that on all 3 string sets that are power chordy. Midnight Moses. All right, anyway, with that said, Whole step movement is method number 2. When I say whole step movement, if half step movement is chromatic and half step related, whole steps are going to be, you're going to be skipping a fret. Now we have songs like My Generation. Okay? So moving. Where Have All the Good Times Gone? Kinks. Van Halen. I'm so tired of waiting. A lot of Kinks use this whole step move. That little whole step movement, think of the Kinks. Kinks also. Okay, that's All Day and All Night, Destroyer. 2 Kinks songs. So lots of different. Cocaine by Eric Clapton. Lots and lots and lots of songs. Just practice going back and forth. So this Scorpions. When we practice Watchtower changes, which I have in an earlier episode in Boomer Guitar Sessions, that is going to be used. That's whole step motion. Like Danzig there. I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, that's number 2. Number 3 is when we move from string set to string set. So that is Problem Child by AC/DC. Tons of songs. Like a lot of people get started playing Smells Like Teen Spirit. Tainted Love. A lot of power chording progressions are combinations of this movement and this movement, okay, which we'll discuss. So vertical up and down anytime. I know tons of Ramones tunes are like this. Anyway, tons of Ramones tunes. All right, number 5 is what I call the X pattern. The X pattern is going to be like I'm moving. That's like playing closing time with power chords. Another thing we can do in all of this, power chords are a really cool way in order to practice our rhythm. So what I suggest is you getting a drum machine app or something, and like you hear the drum beat. Play, have fun with it. Practice should be fun. Make it fun. All right, that was the X pattern. Now, here's the deal. The next one is going to be called your box pattern. When I say the box pattern, what I'm dealing with is this kind of like any kind of configuration of something that looks like a box. Or like some this is kind of Gloria. Can't Explain by The Who. Alright, MTV theme. What is that? Anthem by Rush. Anyway, with that said, that is the box pattern. Pentatonic progressions. When I have a pentatonic progression, so pentatonic progressions are like, okay, here's your E minor pentatonic scale. When I have a pentatonic progression, it's going to be something that is. So any kind of, that's a pentatonic progression. That is like kind of green onions. Gorilla Girls by Veruca Salt. It's again a box pattern and a pentatonic. That's almost a pentatonic progression. Pentatonic scale doesn't have a C chord, but anyway, that's going to be our next one. The next one, and this is a lot. This is like a catch-all. How many progressions do we know that are singable? Like we know, like so. So this is number 7, what I call melody progressions. There are lots of melody progressions out there. Black Sabbath. Rick Springfield. Pat Benatar. Boston. Lots and lots and lots of songs. So we are learning songs, but that is number 7, melody progression. Have fun with this. Move from chord to chord. Another important distinction here is that with our technique, we want to move our 2 fingers together. That's Got the Time by Joe Jackson, Anthrax. Anyway, this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions, episode 84. Episode 85, we're going to go deeper into the power chords. Practice with your drum machines. Practice with your moving your fingers together. Practice playing songs. Practice your micro movements. And I'll see you next time. You can do this. I believe in you. See ya. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember, you can do this.